Welcome to episode 11 of the AvGeeksAssemble Podcast. I am Andrew, and I'm once again your host this week. With me this week to speak to our guest are Ben.
Hello.
Martin.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
How are you, chaps? You all right?
Yeah, I can't mind. Hot.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone can relate to that one in the UK today.
Yeah.
Nice. So before we introduce our guest, who's on screen at the moment, we just want to emphasize once again that our opinions are entirely our own, and that does also go for any of our guests, either today or in the future. So now that's out of the way, it is time for our guest to join us on this flight. We're still not quite sure on the destination, but we'll see where it goes. So with us today is full-time aviation photographer Rich Cooper. How are you, mate?
I'm really well, thanks. It's great to be here. Can't
yeah,
wait.
No, it's a pleasure to have you, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I love it. I love engaging anything to do with aviation photography, or aviation and photography, anything, all the time, anytime. It's all good in my book. So bring it on.
I think we can all believe that quite a bit. Obviously, we'll get into.
You've got to make time for it, don't you? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like anything that's going on. It's the only time I get up early in the morning as well. It's aviation photography. So, yeah.
Well, to be fair, the passion, it bleeds through, and it's easy to see.
Totally
with everyone, yourself and everyone else that we've spoken to, everyone in here now, it's easy to see the passion is there. So thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into aviation photography.
Yeah, sure. So as you say, I'm very fortunate to be one of the only full-time aviation photographers in the world, really. There's not many of us around, and it's quite a hard industry to do full-time. So I spread it around a bit. I do a lot of other different things within the aviation photography industry. And obviously right now I'm head of COAP, Centre of Aviation Photography. That's my full-time job, and primarily that was all about traveling the world and doing these amazing events and experiences wherever we went. But that obviously took a turn for the worst around about February last year.
Yeah.
So I run COAP in a very different way now. It's membership based and entertainment and training based now. So that's kind of where it's at now. But I actually go back a long time, like when I was just 7 years old. I picked up a camera. So my dad was a photographer, still going strong, bless him. And he was a freelance photographer and journalist actually on military aviation in this country. And it was 1982, in fact, Farnborough 82, that he gave me one of his cameras for the first time. And I tell you, the world was such a different place there, you know, in terms of the access and the lack of security and all, millions of different reasons. It's so different. But when Dad was able to go out on assignment, he'd be able to take me with him, you know, and I wanted to become an RAF photographer. That was when I grow up, you know, I want to be an RAF photographer. And that was my goal after sort of working with Dad and sort of shadowing Dad in these amazing things we used to go on. I remember going on holiday up to like Scotland and stuff and staying in some B&Bs and that, and just literally ringing up Lucas and, you know, my dad, not myself, be a bit weird, you know. Just a little kid ringing up the station. But I'm, you know, just like, we're here on holiday. Can we come in and spend a day with 111 Squadron Phantoms in the Has site at Lucas? And they were like, yeah, sure, you know. And he said, you know, my son wants to join the RAF as a photographer. Is it all right if he tags along? And they're like, yeah, of course, bring him in. But can't wait. And that was it. It's like literally the day before you'd ring up, and that was possible. So a little bit crazy, but just opportunities like that actually then led to my first ever photograph being published when I was just 11. So it was actually from that visit I just said about. It was 111 Squadron had just added some new markings to Phantom and photographed it coming out of a Has and sent it into Aviation News, and they used it. You know, it's kind of like, so this schoolboy taking a show and tell kind of thing, taking a magazine in with your name in print and seeing it in Smith's and on in the newsagent shelves. You know, when I was a paper boy, you know, just going in and seeing my name in print in the magazines was ridiculous. That was just absolutely insane. And so that feeling hasn't actually left me either. I still get that now. You know, I'm not a paper boy anymore, but I still get a buzz from going into Smith's and seeing my name in print and seeing a final result and achievement of lots of people's hard work and teamwork getting it together, and then seeing something actually tangible from that is just awesome. It's kind of what keeps me going now. So I've developed that into sort of freelance stuff. So I was traveling well, obviously I tried to get in the RAF first, but then it hit at a time when the RAF first cutbacks really started to hit in personnel. So they couldn't actually take me in any drafts for quite some time to go in there, any intakes. So I went and worked in a camera shop and learned a lot about different camera systems. This was sort of early 90s. So the autofocus was just coming in, you know. Dude,
when most of us were born as well, I think.
Yeah, sorry, Rich.
So I learned a lot about the different manufacturers and the way they worked, and also kind of helping me to understand difficult customers. And, you know, I'm just left school, you know, so I didn't go in the RAF, didn't go to college, didn't go to university, nothing. I was purely set on being an RAF photographer. So I just decided to do the kind of education through life, really, and start to travel out a little bit more. I worked really closely with Jamie Hunter, and we synced our days off. He worked at Heathrow at the time as a baggage handler. I worked in a camera shop, and we both synced Thursdays off so we could go and do, you know, spotting trips, photography trips, whatever. I did a bit of number collecting and standing outside fences and all the old exercises and stuff. It was just epic. I mean, that mid-90s period for all that is just like such a heyday of aviation, wasn't it? So I really enjoyed that, and also found I could write. So as I was sending these shots in, I could write the captions, again with a bit of my guidance from my dad. And we started traveling a bit further abroad, going over to the States a couple of times a year. And at that time as well, the US Air Forces and military, so the Navy and the Marines, were going through the BRAC program, base realignment and closure. So we were in the thick of all these changes that we were seeing. And so I decided to write about it, and a magazine took it. And I was like, okay, well, this is working. This is going to work. I can do this. The photographs are cool. I'm enjoying finding out the information. I'm enjoying writing about it and putting it together as a package, and then submitting it to a magazine. So that then continued for quite a few years, up until about 1998, I think it was, when I was actually on an assignment for a weekly news magazine. And I bumped into the editor of Aircraft Illustrated, rest in peace, a classic magazine, you know, just real fond memories of AI. And I bumped into the editor, Alan Burney, smashing chap, and we got on like a house on fire. And he needed an assistant. And I remember going for the interview, and it wasn't anything. The interview consisted of, what music do you like? That was it. It's just nice. Music for like an hour, if not longer. And anyway, got the job. So I don't know what that says about my music taste, but so I joined the staff of Aircraft Illustrated in 1998, and spent 10 years then. I became editor of Combat Aircraft magazine, the world's largest mag, aviation mag. And obviously Aircraft Illustrated grew to one of Europe's biggest and best until it died of death towards in the 2000s. And that was an amazing period, just to be able to having a full-time job doing something you absolutely love, and also challenges you at the same time. It was hard putting together 2 mags every month, you know, on the deadlines and the production process and everything else. That was pretty tough, but so enjoyable. And in 2008, after 10 years of that, I then went and did something totally different, literally a world away from aviation. I actually ran a youth charity. I was doing like anger management stuff and teen pregnancy stuff and mentoring and social enterprise and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool time, but totally out of aviation. But it never leaves you, right? You know, you were talking earlier just before we started about the passion that's inside of you. And I think once you've got that bug, you've got it, you know. So it never really left me, even though I was doing something so different, and stopped doing aviation for a while. And then after a few years of that, I then left that industry and just did everything freelance. So I did freelance youth work, I did freelance photography, freelance this, freelance that, everything, and just made life work in a very interesting and dynamic way. Very interesting times. And I then started falling back on something that I developed when I was at the magazines. I built something called the Aviation Photo Club in the early 2000s. And that was born from me being editor of a magazine and going out to squadrons and experiencing life on this unit and building up relationships there, but also realizing that I was in a really privileged position to be able to do that and see that. So I was able to ask the units that I built a relationship with if I could bring the readers of my magazine along with me on a return visit. So I'd go out and hit a unit, do the report, publish the mag, send it over and say, look, people are loving this. Can I bring some of my readers out to see it in real life? And again, 2000s, mid 2000s, very different world, and it was possible. So I started taking, coach loads of readers over to all these military air bases to witness all these amazing types of aircraft that we lost in the early 2000s. The classic aircraft type. So that principle then reared its head again in 2015. So I'm now out of everything, doing everything freelance, but people were asking again for that kind of like opportunity to get up close and operational with aircraft all over the world from a photographic point of view. So the world had obviously turned digital by then as well. I went digital in 2005. So I really felt like I had a lot to better give into the photography industry and hobby, as I had done in the mid 2000s. I developed digital. I still was doing the writing and freelance and press photography and everything else. So I thought, okay, let's roll with it, and that's where the COAP thing was born. So myself and Steve Comber, my right hand man, we set up COAP in 2015, and that ran until early 2020, and then the world pushed pause.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, crazy times.
What a journey.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
man.
Very much. Yeah, it's really good insight, actually.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's quite nice because you can see the catalyst, like what it was that basically got you to where you are now, which was that shot getting published at 11 years old.
Yeah, that was really special.
Obviously, what was that like at the time, at that age? What was the feeling like?
So I still got it now, dude.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. It's just amazing. I think part of what makes me tick now is creating an end result.
Yeah.
So is putting together all of the effort in terms of arranging something, going out and doing that thing, then processing and editing that thing, and packaging it together, and then having an end result. So that end result might be completely different from one shoot to the next. It might just be a picture on the wall, or it might be a full magazine, or it might be a couple of pictures, or it might be a book. It just, whatever, it doesn't matter. Or it might just be a couple of nice pictures on my Facebook, whatever. I just love going that full circle from concept to reality, really.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's really good insight. But I mean, it's funny because next thing that we've got is to get to know you a little bit more.
Cool.
And for that, we're going to be doing one of our little games.
Yeah,
I mean, like I was saying before, before we started recording, I did say, thankfully this time, no disrespect to the other guys, but we've got a couple of people that are a little bit better at this game than me. I'm dreadful at this game. So we're doing 20 questions, Rich.
Okay.
So essentially, you should hopefully have your favorite ever airframe ready in your head.
Yeah.
And we're going to go around and we're going to ask a question each, yes or no question.
I think the favourite one gives it away straight away.
Yeah.
I honestly genuinely thought about like really messing with you guys and coming up with something totally random.
Yeah.
I can't do that. It might be a really short game, this one, because it is. Yeah. It's pretty obvious. I don't know. We'll see. Go on.
What we'll do, so we'll go in. We'll go in the order that I've got on my screen. So we'll go Martin first. I'll then go Ben and then Mike. You guys happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. I'm also going to keep tabs on what question we're up to. So if you see me looking down, I'm not on my phone. But yeah, Martin, fire away. Question number 1.
Was this plane built in America?
Yes. I might have been in my second favourite. I don't know. Mix it up. So no.
This may be the shortest version of 20 questions I think we've ever had.
2 questions. All right. So it was built in the US, right? Yeah. Is it a fixed wing aircraft?
It is.
It is. Ben?
Was it ever exported?
Many times.
Mike?
Is it Air Force? US Air Force.
Say again, mate, Sarah?
The US Air Force.
Yeah, they had them, absolutely.
Is your favourite place to photograph this airplane in Southeast Asia?
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm sure a couple of you have got it already, but for me, I'm already sat here going,
Oh,
yeah, I have no idea. Where do I go from Southeast Asia? Is this aircraft still flying today?
yeah.
It is, okay. Ben?
Is it currently on your wall behind you?
Yes. Oh dear.
Mike?
Come on, Mike, finish it off.
Like that. Okay.
I kind of want Andrew to get it because I think one of the only countries that's still flying it is his home country.
Oh.
Ooh.
Possibly.
Ooh.
I'm going to look silly if that's wrong.
Okay, so what's am I going for a guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, go for a guess.
Is it the F4 Phantom?
Yes, mate.
Hey.
I can't believe it! I got one!
Well done.
Oh, Mike.
I thought I was
Good
expecting the questions to. Does it begin with PH? You know.
No, the second he said, because obviously I was thinking Hellenic Air Forces at the minute, obviously F-16s, Mirage 2000 still, I believe, and obviously F4s.
Yep.
So yeah, okay, fair enough. And so obviously you continue. What is it about the F4 that's made it your favourite ever airframe?
Well, I think there's so many things really. The smoke for a start. I mean, I love smoky jets. I love anything smoky actually. Classic airliners, you know, old props, anything that's smoky. I guess from having been around it so much that there's not many left now, is there? That jets that smoke. So an F4 is still smoky. Just about. Not all nations have that variant of the engine that smokes, so you know it's still pretty precious. But there's the upturned wings, there's the slab sides of it, it's the double cockpit, there's the nose variations, there's the camouflage they wear, there's just the fact it's a 2-crew aeroplane, 2 engines, massive burners, the sound of them. I mean, literally everything. And one of my favorite things about that is actually I was working in Wittmanns with the last Phantom squadron up there. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the Phantoms always taxi with their cockpits open, the canopies up. Yeah. So regardless of, and Wittmann's pretty rubbish weather, northern Germany, generally raining and cloudy and everything else. And we just said to them, why do you taxi with the canopies up? And, it's pouring with rain and everything else. Why do you do it? Why do you taxi with them up? And they just said, because we can. It's just the epitome. How many aircraft nowadays taxi with the canopies up? It's just rare. Cool. It's just the epitome of cool, and it's so slab. And you think you got to be a real, I'll probably get in trouble, but you know what I mean. You've got to be an old school pilot to be able to fly those things as well. So proper flying.
It's a shame that we don't get to see them display as much now as what we used to. I mean, I think the last time I ever saw a Phantom do a display of any sort or even flying into the UK was Fairford 2007.
Oh, was it really? Right.
Back when I was with the Air Cadets, and we came in. We're in there for the week while they were setting up, and we saw the 2 Hellenic ones come in.
Nice.
And like you said, they put on a show. They came in, puffed out a little bit of black smoke, and then just dropped it, gear up, and went straight up. And we were in awe of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
Not many aircraft give you that much of an impression on the first sight.
No,
it's just awesome.
And I mean, I was still. I'm trying to think how back. I must have been 14, 15 at the time. And to see and hear something like that, I literally, jaw was on the floor, and I was just like, damn, that's impressive.
Brilliant. No, that's it. And you'll never forget it either.
No.
Forget it with a PH, obviously.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever actually seen a Phantom fly. I've seen them on
Redbird.
I might possibly have seen them on holiday in Greece, maybe, but they're usually so high up. Obviously, you can tell it's a fighter, but I can never, they're that high up. They're like,
sure.
But I've never actually seen. It is one of those that it would be great to see fly, I think. But unfortunately, I don't want to say I was late to the air show game, but I wasn't going in like sort of 2007, so that might have something to do with it. But
yeah, they're only going to get rarer as well, aren't they?
That's it. Yeah, it's like
Japan
the one that I'm. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Japan finished now, haven't they? So they were
have they?
Prolific operator. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That was last year during COVID, unfortunately, so no one could sort of go and say goodbye to them and shed a few tears. But
the Japanese color schemes are probably one of the best color schemes I've ever seen on an aircraft 100%. Throughout history. I mean, to go from like digital blue camo and digital green to full scale samurai with blossoms on. They are incredible the way they painted them up. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, there's a real art to them over there. There's something about them, right? There's a number of factors actually. I think the squadron markings are always awesome over there. Yeah. You know, we're often quite bereft of those over here, aren't we? You know, everything's going low vis and everything else, but have such colourful squadron markings on the jets, and also the fact that you can get quite close to them over in Japan. You know, it's a very different basing policy, and the way it all works over there is quite different, security wise and that. But and also the pace of operations. You know, obviously not right towards the end. It was a pretty skeleton fleet that was left towards the end. But you know, it wouldn't be unusual to see like 10 F4s being launched in the space of like 10 minutes. You know, it was just ridiculous, absolutely unbelievable. Ramps just full of them. It was magic. So yeah, Japan's always got something special about it, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think I saw someone on Instagram recently that went on a spotting trip out there. I can't remember who it was, but the way, like you say, that they're set up for spotters, it almost comes across really accommodating. Like, it's as long as everyone's keeping each other's distance and not in the way, and as long as you're being safe and clean, it's like you're really sort of welcomed, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, very much so. And that's what you just said there also describes the Japanese as a people as well, as a culture. It all goes hand in hand. It's amazing. Love it.
Is that is Japan? Have you been there a few times then, I'm assuming?
Yeah, not quite as many as my man Steve that we do the trips with. Steve's on, I think, 24.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It's crazy. I'm double digits, but not that level. It's
obviously, I know we've still got COVID going on, but have you got plans to head back out anytime soon?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were desperately trying to get out there to see those last Phantoms. There was a couple of occasions that was sort of this date and this date and this date, as we've all lived through. Just waiting for that time and hoping there's something on the horizon there, but never happened. So. But yeah, in terms of return, Japan had F4s, and very lucky to be able to see and shoot those quite prolifically. But it's not all about F4s over there. The country, the food, the culture. It's just everything. It's an amazing place to visit, and the people are incredible. And they've still got great jets everywhere else, and everything. All those colours and squadron markings, and the access is still is good. And it's a wicked place to go.
Yeah, no, it's good because obviously this isn't aviation related, but something that a lot of people have seen that will prove this point. It's like every time they're in a World Cup or something like that, and after the game, you see all of their fans staying behind to clean up after themselves.
It's so Japanese.
Amazing to see, isn't it? Because it's not often you see that, and it's like they just leave the place spotless. No, so I can only imagine if there's anything like a small glimpse of it like that, it must be amazing to be out there.
They're amazing people.
Yeah. No, class. No, that's awesome. But yeah, no, cheers for that. Again, another great insight into your favourite airframe and why.
I should have done number 2, shouldn't I?
Are we allowed to know what number 2 was, or are you saying
MiG-29 actually?
What's that?
MiG-29.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Nighthawk, the F117.
Yeah, it's right. I do. Do you see?
I threw the swerve ball in there a little bit.
Damn.
Right, I'll tell you what, let's just do a
I
don't know. Very quick one off the bat. Yeah. Everyone else. Martin, what's your favourite ever airframe?
Ever?
Or
Tornado.
Ben?
What's the choice?
Well, Martin's just said mine, so that spoils that.
GR4 or F3?
GR4.
Yeah.
Sweet.
GR4.
In its prime, fully loaded.
So GR1 era or GR4 era? What are we going for in its prime?
GR4.
Okay.
When it was at its absolute best.
Yeah, sweet.
I would go for an old classic, and I'd go for a Merlin powered Spitfire.
Nice.
Okay.
Just nothing beats that sound of a Spitfire giving it full beans down the runway, nice and low. Just
oh, mate, every time at work I have to stop and watch. No matter what, I get abused for it every time.
Mate, fair enough though.
Just can't help it.
I don't think I'd get any work done at that point.
No, same.
Be able to do anything.
Mate, I don't. It's like 20, 25, 30 times a day sometimes. I just stop.
Oh.
Like, I'm just like,
Mike, how about you?
I'm going to have to be really boring and say Tornado, because I grew up on the doorstep of Coningsby and it's the soundtrack to my childhood.
Oh.
But I'll probably go with GR1 because
a classic.
That's the era I grew up in. You know,
your Desert Pink, Desert Storm stuff.
Yeah,
nice.
Good effort. Well, this is gonna basically seem really sort of basic of me, but I can't help it. For me, still, I've never seen one static. I've never seen one flying. The only other time I've seen one, F-14 Tomcat, for me, favorite ever, I think. I've never even seen one, but there's something about that aircraft, not even just from the film, just something about every time I see a picture or video of that aircraft, I absolutely adore it.
They'll never make one like that again.
I know.
If I could have 3 number 2s. If 117 probably.
My favourite flying, one that isn't a very popular opinion nowadays, I personally, I love the F-35, but I know that's not a...
Someone has to. I'm joking.
They have a lot of things to say about that, but I love it personally.
Yeah, it's an awesome piece of machinery. Photographing that, even you spend any time shooting the F-35, you then go back out to the current sort of normal generation stuff. It seems so old-fashioned.
Yeah,
honestly, it really does. It really does. You get used to the contours and the lines and the way it operates and the gear that the pilots wear, their helmets, and then kind of then go and shoot, tornadoes. Unbelievable. Different world. Incredible piece of kit. And the Tomcat, I mean, that's the size of that thing and the way the tails are angled, the swing wing, the double crew again, 2 engines, everything about that. It's just cool, isn't it? It's the
it is, yeah.
And the whole community, the whole Tomcat community again was something special there. Definitely a choice.
Yeah.
Andrew, did you say it's in a film?
Yeah, it's a film. I don't know if many people have seen it. Has anyone ever?
Final Countdown.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the one.
I've seen that. I've seen that film many a time.
It's in Sharknado.
Sharknado.
Oh, class. I thought I like firing off questions with unsuspecting people. So we thought we'd go for that.
That's what this whole podcast is, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. In actual fact, I might have to pull out my old favourite question later on. I've not asked that one in a little while, but we'll get to it. I mean, for the meantime, Rich, let's talk about COAP a little bit. So obviously you said it started in 2015.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
So where did the sort of initial idea come from, or did it sort of basically develop itself?
Well, it was really based from the old Aviation Photo Club that I ran in the early 2000s, up until about from 2003, 2004 to about 2008. So about 4 years there. And it was all about, getting people to see aviation firsthand, up close and operational. That was what it's all about. So, 2015 came along, the world's gone digital. I'm still, a professional aviation photographer doing what I do, and really did think I could bring something new and different into the hobby, into the genre, and love working with people, love doing stuff in teams. It's all very well and good doing it on your own, and there's some benefits to that as well, but a collective shared experience is you can't beat it, can you? The social side and the adventure of it all. So we set up COAP 2015, Steve and I, and it took a while to get going, actually, because social media was quite tricky. We're very much part of our lives back then, but even just 2015 is quite a long time ago in terms of social media. You think of how Instagram's grown and stuff. So although we were back and we were doing it, the word took quite a long time to spread for that reason. So a lot of the guys that first started coming with us had the time to do so they were perhaps retired, in older generations. They weren't necessarily even on social media, so it took a little while to grow. And but when it did start going, it then went ballistic. So we were the last year we were in full operations. I was away 33 weeks of the year, something like that. And that's a lot of travel and a lot of hard drives getting eaten up.
Yeah, right.
And you know, it was everything from you know, the UK based workshops and events, whether that's just me teaching specific areas of photography or post processing in Lightroom, that sort of thing, to you know, traveling for around the UK for a week, or traveling around to an event for a couple of days, then expanding into Europe, going for like 3-4 days, or over to the States or Japan for like 10 days, 2.5 weeks sometimes. So it's always small groups, really always about aviation photography. It's never the number side of things or anything else like that. Sometimes we'll spend an entire day just shooting like 5 airplanes. You know, that's all we know that's going to operate there, but that's great. We'll get every single angle, every single weather condition, every single lighting condition, because it really is all about the photography, but not at the expense of the kind of food and the culture and the drinks and the social side of things as well. It's really important to me and to Steve, but us as a collective, to, if we're going to visit somewhere, we do it really well. You know, stay in nice hotels, travel well, eat well, drink well, you know, kind of look at do all the research about what the local food is, what the local cuisine is, what happens locally in terms of cultural events, that sort of side of things, and encompass that as well. And all from a photography point of view, you know, so it's amazing. It was really, really cool. Generally the size of the groups would be about 6 people, maybe up to 10, maybe down to 4 people. And that's really different to the other types of tour operators that are out there, which you'll be traveling in a much larger group. You know, this is all about the photography in small groups and getting good access and getting the best results possible.
No, class.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, obviously, with the, you know, the way you say it's developed and where it is now.
Yeah.
What do you see for the future of? Because obviously, I know, you know, again, we keep mentioning it, but COVID and all that.
Yeah,
but
sure.
As we start coming, hopefully, to the end of it, and the word is spreading, what do you see for the future of COAP?
Well, funnily enough, I landed back from Japan on February the 28th, 2020, and we all sort of watched, okay, there's a bit of flu, it's not that bad, it's not going to get over here, all that, you know, month by month things were happening, weren't they? It's a really weird. I just put back events like a month, and, you know, thought, okay, well, summer will be okay, and like, okay, that's not right. So then the winter will be okay, and then it wasn't. So we just left that alone. We literally just pushed pause. We really believed that there was no point in trying to orchestrate a visit or a trip or an adventure like we used to, and not being able to deliver the quality that we could and the enjoyment that everyone had out of it. Yeah. So we've been quite careful to go back very slowly to that. So we haven't pushed for a load of events. We haven't made all these plans based on empty promises or anything like that. You know, when we're going to do it, we're going to come back and it's going to be right and absolutely safe and everything else that you'd expect, but also the best experience that you could do. So I don't think that's going to happen this side of Christmas too much. Right. I think we might get an American trip in. I think they've really caught up in terms of the way they're handling all of the vaccines and everything. Yeah. So there's a possibility that we could look to America. There's a possibility that we could look to Japan, but there'll be quite sort of late notice things. And I've already got like stuff waiting in the wings, ready to go, that it's really easy to ramp up and get going again. Yeah. So it's all there ready, but I do think 2022 will be the year that it kind of comes back with a bang. Yeah. So in the meantime, when all of this was being shut down and stopped, or at least paused, I set up COAP online, because I sort of thought that, you know, what's missing from aviation photography? You know, I've been doing this a long time. And, you know, it's the best hobby in the world. It's the best pursuit in the world, hands down. I don't care what you say, what you're into. What we do in terms of aviation photography is the best in the world. Yeah. It's a brilliant thing to get involved in for so many reasons. But I thought there were still things missing, you know, like, you know, what was there? There's obviously a lot now, but this is a year ago. What is there in terms of entertainment for the aviation photographer? You know, there's, in terms of accessible photo competitions, news spread everywhere, all over a million different platforms. I want it all in one place so I can see everything to do with aviation, not just military, not just civil, but kind of everything, and the photography side of things. There's no training or tutorials. There's no workshops. You know, there's a couple of bits we used to do. There's a couple of people doing other bits and pieces, but no one that's been there and done that and bought the t-shirt and got the patches that's actually, you know, you're able to engage with one-on-one or in a group or now online. So there was all of this stuff was going around in my head, and I thought, well, you know, COAP's got the infrastructure, and I've got certainly got the will and hopefully the knowledge and the drive to be able to make it work. So I set up a membership that was launched to the year from when we got back from our last operation, that enables people to join COAP as a low-cost membership that brings together a community of photographers in one place, and it's able to get safe, easy, nice critique. You know, if there is such a thing as nice critique, but do you know what I mean? Like a really easy place to come in and go, do you know what's wrong with this photograph? I can't quite get it right. And without being jumped on and shouted down and all the bad atmosphere that you get on social media sometimes, more often than not, just being able to come in and say, look, I want some feedback on this, or how could I improve it? Or, hey, I've just done this, please, I want someone to celebrate it with me. And, or, you know what, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what this lens is. I don't know what this camera does. And goodness me, trying to do that sort of thing on social media is really tough. So I wanted to create a space for people to be able to do that. And I also wanted to create a whole host of entertainment, you know, of aviation photography, kind of behind the scenes, what goes into it. So I've set up an entire TV channel of all of that stuff. There's about 12 different channels that you can watch of different styles of photography and that sort of thing, all aviation. And then, you know, competitions, there's news sites and everything else. And that's a monthly membership that you become part of. And it's been great. I've absolutely loved doing it. The connection and getting the worldwide feeling of community coming together there's nothing quite like it. I absolutely love it. But it won't be at the detriment to the trips. I think it'll really add to it, because, you know, there's now more people that know each other. So, you know, if you haven't been away before, you kind of already know people because you're already connected to people within that group. So that's going to be really cool. And then it's just a case of slowly and carefully but very deliberately building up the travel side of things, and easing into the content delivery pattern of the membership, which hopefully I think everyone is also enjoying at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot to come. The biggest thing to come, flipping heck, is the online workshops. So we've just about, it's a long story, really quick summary of it. There was a guy called Tom Dalt that I've got really friendly with. He's a fantastic guy, and he was a furloughed Virgin A330 captain. And he loves his aviation photography, and set up a challenge for aviation photographers to be more creative over social media. And it kept coming up on my phone, you know, as these adverts do, bless Facebook. And so we've joined forces, and we delivered this challenge together. And that's now grown into our first kind of online aviation photography workshop. And we've got 30 guys in the one at the moment from all over the world, all different time zones. And we've done about 25 hours training now over the last couple of weeks. I've just literally finished 2 hours on how to do an air-to-air sortie tonight. We did color science last night. We did Lightroom the night before. You know, just a massive amount of training. Yeah. So we've got huge plans on that. We're going to bring out an entire syllabus of workshops. The first one's going to be September. It's going to be specifically aviation photography and Lightroom. So it's how to process, how to use Lightroom as the most powerful aviation editing tool possible. And there'll be different levels of that. So it'll be like an introduction, then there'll be a group workshop, and there'll be a chance to work with me one-on-one as well. So, and the one after that in December is going to be how to write an article, how to interview people, how to get the story. One after that will be how to get your best ever airshow photos. You know, it's just this, we've got like 20, 30 subjects. We're just going to be pouring what it is now, 30 years of experience as a professional photographer into everything I know, just into all these workshops. And yeah, it's a very special thing, actually. I'm very proud of it.
No, and so you should be. I mean, obviously, I apologize, Rich, but I'm not part of it yet.
It's fine.
I promise I will. But
that's all right, dude.
A few of the guys are.
Yeah, they'll just share your login, don't worry.
Yeah.
No, that's not the idea.
We wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah, I'll send you the details across later, Andrew.
Yeah, nice.
Put them in the comments below, everyone.
Yeah. But obviously, a few of the guys are, and
yeah,
I've heard nothing but good things.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
You know, from the likes of Martin and Ben. Mike, I'm not sure. Are you?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. You know, and the feedback about it from these guys
that's so cool.
Is superb. You know, like Martin, for instance. Like, tell us a little bit about like your first experiences of, you know, COAP online.
I need to close my ears off. Are you?
Like, are you gonna know how much effort and work you put in, like in the build up, like seeing your Facebook statuses and stuff, like trying to get it done, we're moving forwards. Yeah. But like, it's the simplest thing you've done out of the new COAP setup. Your Facebook group is the best bit.
Yeah,
it's just compared to the rest of Facebook, like you said, and the bitterness that's on most groups. Honestly, it is a world away, and it's so refreshing to see people want to share their knowledge and not be scared to put up a great photo compared to the person before.
Yeah,
and ask for that advice, because you don't get that in a lot of places. Because you'll get someone put up a not so great photo on a page and then get absolutely torn to shreds.
Yeah, can't stand it. Yeah.
And
thanks, dude. That's really cool. Really
and
cool.
Like you wanted to share your knowledge with these workshops. Again, for some reason, most photographers don't want to share their secrets. And yeah, it baffles me sometimes, but so it's nice to see that someone's going against that.
That's really cool. Thank you. Appreciate that, dude. I really mean that.
And what about Ben, Mike? What about your guys' experiences with it?
Rubbish.
I'll send you the bill later.
Martin will pay. It's all right.
I mean, echo from what Martin said. The merge is possibly the soundest place I think I've ever been on Facebook, and even Instagram as well. Like you probably saw it in, obviously a few of the listeners probably saw it when me and Ant went to the lakes.
Yeah.
And we did the loop trip, and you know the updates that we were giving to everyone, and everyone was hooked, and they're like, "Oh, did you get anything? Did you?" And then the photos and the videos coming through. And the video that you love the most is the end of when the 315s go through Oldswater and we all start cheering.
Yeah, they're with you. You know, this is it. It's exactly that. It's the shared experience. There's no egos. We're all, you know, level. Everyone's in this together.
Absolutely.
It's magic. It was so good, that post.
If COVID wasn't happening, or it had died its death earlier in this year, then we would be in Germany and the Netherlands and France doing a tour trying to find. You know, we called it the Tonka tour because we were going to hunt the German Tonkas and take shots. Obviously, it didn't happen, but to then see images from, I think there's like 3 or 4 people that are in the Netherlands and Germany sharing those Tonka shots, and it was like, it is a breath of fresh air, that page.
Right.
And then, like you said, the stuff online on the actual web page, the seminars, the TV programs, the advice, the tips. It's world beating, because like Martin said, photographers out there, a lot of them don't want to share their secrets. They keep it into themselves.
Yeah.
And then wonder why they get such a bad name, where the likes of yourself and all the others are on COAP will share to help everyone else. But, you know, like we've said it before, we see ourselves, and you probably see yourself, as not leaders, but inspiration to the next generation that are coming up behind us.
Nice.
So when they see those shots, they go, I want to get something like that. And then, you know, their passion starts flowing, and then, you know, we grow bigger as a community.
Yeah, that's great. Well said. Love that.
Thank you.
That's really cool. Really cool too. Thank you.
I've got a couple of things to add to that, just on top of, I guess, because I agree with everything that Ben and Martin have said. And I think the thing that I've found most of all so far, again, I've not even touched a lot of the content in there yet because there's just so much of it to consume. Again, great in itself. But the thing I've found is that just the smallest tweak almost, or the smallest bit of information, like one sentence or one tip here and there, can just take you to the next level completely.
Yeah,
I think
that's so true.
The two that I've found that helped me so far, one was your Q&A with Nick from Colour World.
Oh yeah, the printing guy. Yeah.
I've not actually bought anything from him yet.
But that's cool.
I've been chatting to him about what to do, and used all the tips that he suggested and that you guys talked about in that Q&A, and it's just, you can just see that it's going to make such a difference to when you actually get stuff printed.
That's great. You think it's only been going 5 minutes as well? Do you know what I mean? There's so much more to come and do and talk about and enjoy. It's just, it's mega, isn't it?
And the other one was actually in your Lightroom book.
Okay.
The visualize spots tool.
Oh right, yeah, sweet.
Just where everything go black and white, and you can just see the dust spots that you couldn't see before. Again, for printing, you're going to get something blown up. Yeah, you're going to need to use that, and it's just, again, a game changer for.
Oh, that's great. Good to hear.
Pop out a little bit more. So yeah,
sweet.
And you know what the funny thing is whilst we were going through that, I just had to think to myself, hang on, let's just reassure everyone, this is not a paid promotion.
Honestly, you guys
going, this is like a half-hour long advert. No. This isn't a paid promotion. Rick hasn't paid us for this. Rich, we will discuss that later. No, I'm joking.
You guys could have come on and said, sorry, Ben, what was that?
I was saying my PayPal's just pinged up, saying I can see the payment from.
Yeah, no, you guys could have absolutely slated it for all I know. I'm pretty confident it's going on the right track. Yeah. But you're probably the first people I've actually sat down and spoken with in terms of face to face. Like, all right, is this all right? You enjoying it? Is it going okay? So, something I wanted to do more. I was actually thinking about that only yesterday. That need to do some sort of member survey and stuff, because it's so new. I'm just a lot of the stuff I do I base on what I'd want to know and what I'd want to see and what I want to do. Because I think if I want to do it, then in theory some other people would want to see it as well. So that's kind of how it's certainly how I even started with COAP itself. It's kind of like, I want to go and see German tornadoes, so let's do a trip. Exactly that theory, and that continues to this day as well.
I mean, what we can say as well is, for anyone listening or now watching, of course, that is part of COAP, if you've got anything to add to what we've said, Rich, I'm sure you'd love to hear it as well.
Love to.
Send us a DM, whatever, just let us know. Any of the guys, the main AvGeeksAssemble page, even Rich, yourself, I'm sure you wouldn't mind people.
Absolutely.
Just let us know what you think. I mean, it's been nothing but, good feedback that I've heard as well, and that's from an unbiased area as well. No, keep up the good work, mate, because we can all see how much hard work and effort you're putting into it, and it's coming to fruition. So
that's great.
But awesome stuff.
If it wasn't for COVID, none of that would have happened.
It's mental, isn't it? It
really is the silver lining. Just to be able to pivot and do something completely different like this. I've never have had time to set up a membership and do that TV stuff and do the workshops, and it just wouldn't, because like 33 or 35 weeks a year or whatever being away, not going to happen. So it's going to look a bit different going forward with that, for sure.
No, that's cool. Right, so moving on, we've got a couple of questions from some of the people online that obviously, because what we do beforehand, we say who our next guest is going to be, and people can ask questions.
Why is COAP online so rubbish? Is that what
How do I share passwords?
Exactly.
So the first one we got is from on Instagram at aviation_NWI. And the question is, what is your favorite place to go spotting?
Okay, so we talked a lot about Japan. And that's very special for all the reasons I said, the access and the amount of airplanes and the culture. Absolutely amazing. But I also absolutely love Switzerland.
Okay.
Kind of similar sort of thing there, the access and everything else, but you've got the added dynamic of the weather. So I love challenging myself in dodgy weather, really bad weather, snow, fog, rain, clouds, and weird light and all that kind of thing. So Switzerland will give you all that in a day. So I really, really enjoy going out to Switzerland. It's not the cheapest country to visit, that's for sure. but it's like, 10 quid for a Happy Meal or whatever. But no, I don't do that. It's all about the culture.
Just find the nearest McDonald's and dive straight in.
No. So yeah, it's an awesome place to visit. I really do enjoy Switzerland. In the States, there's obviously anywhere in that desert coast, it's just magic. That whole Nellis area, going up to Tonopah, Vegas, down into the Arizona desert, Phoenix and Tucson. That's just awesome. Love that. There's a very special atmosphere about that whole area. And, just being in Nellis is mind blowing. Just to be in the same place as Nellis, the home of the fighter pilot, and Edwards up the road, and kind of, mega. So that's super special. And the burgers are great out there.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm now sold.
It was easy.
Yeah, right. Nice one. And then just the other question we've got from Instagram, at tomd.jones. This is quite an interesting one. We've sort of touched on it, but it will be interesting as a question itself. What are the best and, I guess, worst parts about the online aviation community?
Yeah, we definitely touched on that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, going a bit serious now, isn't it? Well, the worst is seeing people's, getting shouted down.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating. I don't really understand it. The sort of egos and protectionism, and if that's even a word, protectionism. Being protective.
We'll go with it.
Being protective of what you do and how you do it, and being guarded, and I don't know. It's just some weird stuff going on, and it's quite easy to do, isn't it, behind a keyboard?
Yeah.
But to be fair, COVID's messed people up as well, isn't it? So giving people a little bit of slack there. That there's obviously a lot of other things going on in their lives. So if there's a button that gets pushed and someone responds to it, there's obviously something else going on. It's not all about that comment at the time. There's something. Okay, why have you responded like that? There's what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
There's often can get a bit deep with that, but so that can be tough on the online stuff. I think stealing images. Do you know what? It's a bit of an accepted battle, isn't it? You have to kind of think, okay, if I'm going to put an image out there, then there's every chance that it is going to get stolen, quote unquote. And it's sort of an acceptable risk. It's kind of like, okay, do I do this with the knowledge that it's going to be? So I sometimes find myself choosing my battles nowadays, because it happens a lot, and it is annoying. It doesn't, no matter how many times it happens, it doesn't get any less annoying. But sometimes you just can't be bothered to fight that battle. Other times is like, okay, you've claimed this as your own shot. It's getting a load of traction, a load of traffic, and it's really annoying. And you know what? You've cropped out or photoshopped out my watermark.
Yeah, that
ain't happening. That's not on. And so we've got a pretty cool community around that. Most people will say hey, that's so and so shot, and they'll tag you in it. And then I've got two crazy sisters as well that love to jump on that, so they're messaging them and everything else. So it's quite funny, but I don't have the time or the energy to fight every battle that comes that way. So I would say the treatment of perhaps new photographers online and stealing images is neither of those are particularly on. And then the flip side of that is how you take the rough and the smooth of social media, don't you? Some amazing flip sides to it. The connection, I mean, goodness me, how the worldwide connection of aviation is ridiculous. And you just think of how so I was telling my kids, this shows how old I am. I was telling my kids the other day that it was 30 years old until I had an email. So what have we got now that when my kids, they're now 18 now, so when they're 30, what are they going to be able to say that we didn't have that until we were 30 years old? So how quickly social media and obviously the internet as a whole has grown, and the benefits of being able to share images and in different ways, because you kind of treat Twitter and Insta and Facebook differently, and Flickr, etc., and being able to have all of those platforms to show your photography and share your photography, share the experience, develop your style. I mean, that's having grown up throughout an area where none of that happened. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, because obviously going on from that is, it's weird because the more technology develops, then the quicker it develops as well.
Yeah, so true.
Like they go hand in hand. Like it's
nice one.
Progress that it makes is astronomical. You know, it's mental how much it develops. And obviously a little addition to what you said about the worst parts, where you said, you know, people tag, this is your shot. The amount of times in our main AvGeeksAssemble group chat that someone's gone, lads, this looks like one of your shots. Is it? Confirm. Everyone goes on that. Like, we're not horrible to said person who's stolen it. It's a case of, in about 5 minutes, they'll get about 17 comments saying, this is your image, please credit such and such, or post. And it's nice because we've not only done it for each other. If there's people online that we all know, or that some of us know, or we will look and we'll go, right, this is such and such shot. It's not been credited. Almost go get him, but not in a horrible way. You know? We're not going to F and blind and start having to go at people, but you've got to go on there and say, look, this isn't your shot. Please credit the photographer. And we've had a few people go, oh, sorry, I didn't know it was theirs. And we've had a few people go, tough.
Should have put it on the line.
Like you say, though, that's the risk you take with putting your stuff out there. So
I was going to say I can rent my sisters out to help, but it doesn't come across too well. There's a family racket going on there. Not in that way.
You're going to tell them not to listen to that part. No, that's awesome. I mean, that's the questions we got online. So now, believe, Martin, before we carry on with other stuff, you've got a few questions for Rich.
Yeah, so I've got a couple. So the first question is, which air force did you find the most accommodating whilst trying to arrange air-to-airs and ground shots?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I tell you what, the answer is all of them. Because the hardest bit is getting to that point. Right. And once you're there, it's kind of they're all so professional. You know, literally, I can't. There isn't ever been a bad experience of that. They're all so professional and so on it and so understand what you're trying to do that they fall over backwards to do that. And obviously there are variations on the theme of that, but it's kind of getting into that point that's the tricky bit. And some air forces and air arms are much harder to deal with than others. You know, what they want as a return, for example, what your reach is, that kind of thing. You know, how many people are going to see this, how many social media stuff and everything. And it's only recently really that social media reach has been even a factor. You know, it wasn't recognized for years that, you know, you might have, say, a social media reach of 10,000 people on a website or a platform, and that was discounted in favor of, like, okay, you've got 1,000 readers of this publication. It's an actual hard publication. Do you know what I mean? So the times have changed there, and so the more air forces are more progressive in other ways. You know, not everyone recognizes that. I suppose if I had to choose one, I was most impressed by the Bulgarian Air Force. I think they haven't got a lot, and they I think it was 2016 or 2015 I flew with them, and you know they really haven't got a lot in their Air Force. It's a very small community and very small air arm, but the bang for the buck they deliver is absolutely unbelievable. And they're very, very experienced pilots as well. They've been flying the MiGs and everything else that they've got for years and years, decades in some cases. So super experienced pilots, lovely country, really accommodating, totally got everything behind it, and then put the whole weight of the Air Force behind it as well. And so the results that came out of that, in comparison to kind of like the footprint of the Air Force and the small number of personnel, was enormous. Unbelievable cooperation. I could say the same as well about somewhere like Romania and Poland as well, similar sort of thing. And then when you then move to, say, somewhere like America, obviously there's a massive footprint, and you know there's a very, very different type of chain you need to go through for any kind of approval, and that can be really tough actually. But then again, when you get there, you know you're dealing with ultimate professionals, and it's awesome. Clockwork sometimes.
Okay, so the next question is, in a post-processing world, what is the most important skill these days? Is it being able to edit a photo properly, or is it taking the photo?
Okay, so post-processing can only go so far, right? You know, it is so amazingly powerful nowadays, but it can't bring something into focus again. So focus is really, really important. You know, Photoshop has got making great strides in being able to make out of focus images in focus. So there is all this technology coming, and it's getting better and better. But I think knowing your camera is actually probably more important than taking the photograph, because if you know your camera, then you're going to be able to get the best shot you possibly can. So it's kind of like knowing what happens when it's going wrong, you know. So like your shutter speed's too low, or your aperture's too wide, or your ISO's all over the place, whatever. It's knowing what it's doing. So the exposure triangle, you know, getting back to that basics of shutter speed affects ISO, that affects aperture, and all that kind of the good thing. The more you learn about that side of things, the more you can learn the weaknesses of your camera and your setup, the better your photography is going to be. So then you're able to let the kind of like your second knowledge, or your instinct, if you like, just take over taking the actual shot. So I'm not up necessarily thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know what settings to use. That's kind of just buried in there set now somewhere. That's why it's all so grey, right? It's buried, it's done. I don't need to think about that. And then you kind of get used to, okay, well, this is what happens next when an aircraft comes around the taxiway. This is what happens next when an aircraft takes off. This is what happens when they turn, all that kind of thing. You get used to that. So then you're looking at the real detail of the image. And so it's really the detail and the light are things that I'll be thinking about. I'm not necessarily even looking at the aeroplane and what it's doing. I am, the enthusiast in me is, but the professional isn't. I'm looking at the actual detail of the shot, what's in the background, what's being clipped, what's happening next and next and next. And I don't need to think about my camera because I know it so well, you know, now. I don't need to think about the aeroplane because it's cool, and I know it's cool, and I'm trying to absorb all of that, but I'm not letting that get too much in the way of getting the job done in my case. I'd always be an advocate for putting the camera down as well, so you're not always looking at it from behind through a viewfinder. But I then, in terms of the actual processing, you know, that is vital. You can't not process. And it's also a little bit of a, you know, it's not quite right to say that this type of processing is better than the other, because you've got the kind of creative processing and you've got the kind of standard processing. They're two very different schools of thought there. And within our aviation industry publication world, we're not cars, are we? You're not looking at like a Top Gear magazine. Slip of the tongue, dude. So Top Gear magazine, or like Evo magazine, which is full of really creatively shot cars, creative processing in colors, and, you know, really classy stuff. It hasn't really translated across to the aviation world. So we still need to have really crisp, clean, sharp, representative shots, record shots of the aircraft for publication wise. Now, and also that's really important to some people as well, isn't it? You know, just a record shot, and it's really important to get this. It's just as much of a skill to process an aircraft clean, sharp, in focus, well lit, well processed. You know, the perfect record shot is just as much of an art as me going through a full-on go-to-town creative edit with you. Do you know what I mean? Because you got to be able to get it right, and all that white balance stuff and everything else right is the skill. And then you can have another skill that's the creative side of things. So there's no right or wrong answer on the processing side. But what I would say is that once you then get used to all the camera side of things, it's really important to, well, I don't say really important, I find it personally important to shoot knowing what your processing can do. So, you know, I will take a shot knowing that, okay, I'm going to be able to put a graduation sky on that, you know, that area, and I'm going to be able to vignette that bit, and then I'm going to be able to twist the horizon a bit, you know. So I'm shooting with the end result in mind, and shooting knowing what my processing can do. So it kind of goes hand in hand with all of the answers to that question, really. Everything's important.
I like it. Just a quick side question on from that. Why do you think creative photography in aviation hasn't got the same recognition as record shot?
Yeah, so I think it has on social media. I think people are really finding their niches and defining their style especially within Instagram, because it looks great, doesn't it? If you've got a kind of an entire feed of similar looking colours and shots and styles, it's just Instagram loves that as well. So that's definitely within the Instagram and social media world. I think creativity is taking off, to use a pun. Publications, it just hasn't. I think in books it has. So I've done a few. Like squadron publication books and stuff like that, and they look amazing with creative images within them. But magazines, it just hasn't happened. And honest answer is I don't know why. I really don't. So when I'm shooting and when I'm editing, I've almost got two heads on. I'm shooting for the magazine and that magazine edit, and I'm editing it in that style. But I've also taken other stuff that I know is for me and my social media stuff, or what I like, and I've processed it how I like. And I'd love to see that in magazines, but it just doesn't happen. The magazine's been around a long time, haven't they? Yeah. Think of Air Forces Monthly and Aviation News, and all the stalwarts of combat aircraft, of course, as well. And I don't think even when I was, as editor, we just didn't even do that. But that's a long time ago now. So it wasn't happening then, and it's not happening now. So it must be all to do with the purity of this is this in operation, and this is what it looks like. And that's the only explanation I can give.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we should start our own magazine then.
Dude, tell me, mate. Look, this is full of it, mate. I tell you. Oh my days! Don't go down that train. I tell you. We can do that podcast next. So much potential in all of this, mate.
Yeah. No, awesome. Well, there you go. There it is. That could be the start of something special. Definitely. No, that's awesome.
Open to anything like that, man.
No, and good questions there, Martin, as well.
Yeah, definitely. Nice one.
Leading on from there, obviously questions from ourselves. So Ben, have you got any questions for Rich yourself?
I've got one. It's probably one that Andrew might stay, and if he does, I'm going to get scorned at through the roof.
Probably.
But it's like an idea, this one. So you've got your camera.
Yeah.
It's your last shot you can ever take.
Ooh.
What is it? And where is it? As in, is it in the air? Is it on the ground?
So okay, it's the F-117s at Tonopah. Oh. No question.
No,
that was a much quicker answer than I was expecting.
Yeah, there's absolutely. I am desperate to do that. I've obviously.
I was expecting F4s.
Sorry, say again, mate.
I said, to be fair, I was expecting something along the lines of F4s or F4s.
Yeah, no. I'm very fortunate to have done quite a bit of that, and that would be awesome. But it ain't F-117s at Tonopah. That's absolutely the story that's out there at the moment, isn't it? And I've got a little bit of a piece of my heart of F-117s as well, having done so much work with them in the past. And it's Tonopah, dude. Come on, it's Tonopah. So I have chased them out there. I have done that already. I didn't see them, unfortunately. Enjoyed the moment, and I can't. In fact, that's absolutely in the plan as when I can get back out there, is to drive that lane again.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, just following on from that one, then, what has to be your best aviation experience?
Am I only allowed one?
Dude, you can have two.
All right. No. Did you say two? I can have two.
You can have two.
Wicked. All right.
We've already seen how indecisive you were of your favourite aircraft.
It's a nightmare. So it's got to be number one's got to be North Korea.
Oh,
that was absolutely one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
And, it was. You can't put that into words. Literally, September 2016, and I still can't even find the words to describe it.
Wow.
Honestly, literally, this is me. Every time anyone asks me about it, I'm just like, great podcast material.
Just saying North Korea alone is
North Korea, definitely number one. Number two will be a tie. Between
so you've turned it into three.
Yeah, I know. No, I could go further. Between the last F-117s, the work I did with those guys, and the last Tomcats.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So going out on the aircraft carrier in Iraq, we're in the Gulf, flying with the last Tomcats, and flying with the last F-117s of Holloman over the White Sand.
What for some?
Yeah, right.
I've got plenty of words on those ones. I can talk to you about that all night, but don't ask me about North Korea because it just goes.
Yeah.
So, I was just about to say what to do in North Korea, but
that's probably another podcast or a chat.
Yeah, we're doing a whole episode on that if you want, dude.
yeah.
It was the Wonsan Air Show, the International Friendship Show, or something like that they called it. I can't remember.
Right.
In September 2016, but yeah, first North Korean military aircraft to be photographed, first people to be allowed to photograph the scenes and the sights and the people and
anything in North Korea.
It was beyond words. Really was.
That's outrageous.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, nice one. Mike, over to you, mate. Let's hear what you've got.
Yeah, I think something we've touched on probably briefly so far, and I think it's actually probably best described by what's on your T-shirt, Rich.
Yeah. Brief, shoot, edit, repeat. Yeah. I'm breathing in a lot there, by the
way. Can you sort of take us through a typical day on a co-op shoot? What we could expect?
Yeah. So it would always start early, always.
I'm out.
Take a trip out in America, for example. So it'd always start early. We'd have had a met up at the airport the day before, perhaps, and got to know each other over a few beers and some drinks. Out of research a really cool local restaurant, like a one-off place somewhere for us to have our first meal together, that sort of thing. And then briefing back at the hotel about what to expect the next day. Up early for a quick breakfast and get some supplies at the local gas station, whatever, because it's likely to be a long day, usually is with us. Making the most out of every single ounce of aviation we possibly can. And then we go in our own transport, and I'd have prepared a specific shoot. It could be at an air show. We've got some access with one of our American partners we work over there. Great guys at 3G, for example. Or it could be at a museum, or it could be a specific military visit. It could be any one of those things, but the principle will still be the same. You know, it's very professional, very open to any abilities. You know, you're along with us the whole step of the way. A bit like we talked about with the merge earlier. You know, it's a very flat hierarchy. You know, although there has to be a kind of point of contact and someone running the show, that would be Steve and I. We always travel with two of us together in case something happens. You know, it's really important. So there's always two of us in control of everything that's going on, and we'll get there and we will, wherever it is, whichever destination, because it doesn't matter, we will literally get the best out of every situation. Even if it goes wrong, there'll be a backup plan, and when it does go wrong, and it sometimes does, you know, we'll be clear in explaining everything that's happening at the time. Everyone's interest is at heart. It's all about the collective experience and the adventure, the thrill of the chase. I mean, that's kind of part of why I still do what I do. It's literally is the thrill of the chase, you know, it doesn't go away. And so making sure everyone's enjoying it, making sure everyone's knowing what's going on, helping out with cameras and lenses, that sort of stuff. Any advice, you know, sort of, you can, one weakness that I would have perhaps is that I tend to just get on and do stuff and not necessarily always know that people are knowing what I'm doing, for example. So I might be thinking already, right, we need to go down there. But so I'll always try and communicate everything that's going on up here, but there's often quite a lot going on up there.
Yeah.
So that's where Steve comes in as well. So he'll look after everyone while I'm interviewing the base commander. Steve will take people out to the end of the runway, for example, and we're making the most of the downtime. But yeah, so making sure that everyone's aware of what's going on, making sure everyone's getting the results they want. And if they're not, then working out with them. It's kind of like a live workshop almost sometimes as well in all of this. And then we'll be there a long time as well. Generally, they're long days because we want to make the most of every single part of the light and the different angles. And we'll then flow into sunset and evenings and often night shoots. And then come back and debrief over a beer and enjoy the whole collective experience, and then get up and do it again tomorrow, or a rest day and we'll go and do something completely different. like last trip I did, we went out to Tombstone to spend some time with the kind of like the whole cowboy scene out there, and amazing bars. We did some reenactment shoots with like cowboys and cowgirls. We went to a rodeo, just unbelievable steakhouses, and oh man, I'm hungry now. Actually, I really need to start traveling again. It's just amazing from start to finish, and but it is all about that collective experience and getting the best results and having the best experience you've ever had in your life. Full stop.
Cool.
I want one of those trips.
Yeah, man. It's epic. Yeah. I use the word epic for a reason. They are brilliant. Well, I would say that.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that sounds class. No, really cool. Right, my question, I hinted towards this earlier on.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it back. I'm bringing the question back because it's been
a bit nervous.
Now, this might be quite difficult, Rich, considering how many shots you've got in the year's experience.
Dude.
If you could choose that one shot that you've got, what is your favourite ever shot that you've taken and why?
Does it include selfies?
It can do if you want.
Damn. Okay, I'm going to try and do one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got to be the F-117s. I mentioned it a few times, but it was an incredible privilege to work that closely with bandits. These top stealth fighter pilots.
Yeah.
And worked with them for so long over the last years of their operation, and to have kind of like access literally all areas apart from some closed doors in the operations buildings. I could do what I want where I wanted it, and so to go on exercise red flags with them and that kind of thing, and all their anniversary flights and normal operational days was just amazing, and that culminated in an air-to-air backseat in a T-38 at sunset with flight 4. And it was one of those jets was the one with the American flag underneath, painted underneath.
Yeah.
We did some daylight work over the White Sands missile range of just one-on-one, and then we brought the other 3 in after that, and flowed around, did some serials and breaks and stuff over the White Sands ranges and the New Mexico mountains and stuff. And flowed that into sunset, and then I got them to stack up in an echelon left formation. And so it's probably that image of 3 stealth fighters against the sunset, because that was literally the last time it was going to happen ever. Literally, there was one flight only, and it could only happen on this day, and it could never be repeated. And it's with stealth fighters, dude. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Pretty amazing. So to be in the same airspace as them, let alone actually commanding a flight and getting the results out of it was incredible. So. And that particular image, I remember even like I can still almost feel the sensations, even if I think about it hard enough, of sitting in the back seat of that T-38 and just literally asking my pilot, because they're good guys. They're quite high ranked in the 117 community.
Yeah.
They're sort of majors and above, so they've got lots of time, lots of hours, lots of stick time. So my pilot was fantastic, and he was able to just literally maneuver the jet within inches of where I needed it to be.
Yeah.
So I remember like asking him to move it slightly more forward so I can get kind of the sun coming through the guy's oxygen mask cable. That precise. We were literally inching around the sky and just being able to feel the jet moving backwards and forwards, and then whipping them into that formation. Number 3 is a bit out if you look very closely. He's a little bit out, but that's fine. It doesn't actually detract from it, which is okay. So, and part of that as well is also remembering that I actually had the balls to ask the guys to change the canopy on the T-38 the night before, because this is pretty nearly swore then really hot stuff. In that this was, for all the reasons I just said, such a special shoot, and I did my ejection seat training and familiarization with the T-38 and stuff, and my canopy was awful. It was just crazed and cracked, and it's an old jet, dude. It's been around a long time. So I actually had to say, look, this is a sunset shoot, and explained the situation and explained how a bad canopy would so dramatically affect the end result and what a disaster that would be. So I had to pluck up the courage and ask if they could actually change the jets, and they couldn't. There was only one aircraft available. went up the chains. This is the day before the sortie, and they ended up working the night shift and changed the canopy on the aircraft. They had a spare new canopy on the T-38 for the sunset flight the next day. So that's why there's no glare and aberration and out of focus weird stuff going on that canopy, because it's literally brand new.
Wow.
So that took some balls. It really did.
Yeah,
really,
massive.
just can't. It's certain things you do in life, don't you? You're like, can't believe you did it, but it just had to be asked. It had to be done. And
yeah.
After building up a couple of years worth of trust, that's really important, isn't it, in what we do?
Yeah.
Trust and respect within that community, and being able to deliver the results I already had done. If I then had to come up with this crazy request, and having just rocked up that day and never seen them before, then that would have been a different conversation.
Yeah.
Having worked so closely with them and built the relationships up, because relationships are absolutely key.
Yeah.
I was able to ask that question. So to have that shot that clean, with no weirdness in the canopy, and remembering the sensations of the jet and how special it was to do that in the first place. And do you know what, boys? I'm actually really airsick.
Oh yeah, no way.
So I just filled a bag before that shot. So there's a lot going on. So it's quite a special one, that one. Could have chosen quite a few similar tales, but it probably, I think it has to be that one.
No, fantastic. No, that's amazing. Yeah, no, fair play. I mean, now that we've hopefully not bored you with all of our questions, have you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, I just love it. We just touched on it a little bit earlier about back when COVID hit, there wasn't actually an awful lot of entertainment for aviation photographers.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different now, and that's awesome. We've got the COAP thing, but seeing what you guys are doing and growing your community, and also now working with you in terms of hosting your guys. The video side of things on COAP TV is just awesome. So I'd like to, I suppose, know what you see as the future for this kind of chat.
Anyone feel like jumping in straight away?
Go on, you go.
Do you mean like recording like the podcast and such on Zoom?
No, a little bit more, not specifically on Zoom as such, but the format that you've created here. Where do you see it going? Where are you able to take it, do you think?
I mean, I think it'd be great if we could meet more as a group, but obviously we are very widespread across the UK.
Okay.
And our jobs mean we are limited with time and everything else.
Yeah.
But I think there will come a point where we might have like sort of like a Jamie Hunter style aviation barbecue.
Hey, that's good fun.
As a group kind of thing. I think that's definitely something that will be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the aviation barbecue has been really good fun actually, and that's exactly that. It's aviation and chat, isn't it? And it's it's informal but well done. We're really proud of that particular thing. It's been quite hard to get that going as well, actually. And it's been going a little while now, and it's difficult to find the time, as you say, really, to get that nailed. But it's something we love doing. So yeah, I'll definitely encourage that for sure. For you to go down that route, it's good fun.
It's funny because obviously, where you say about like, where do we see obviously progress, things like that. It's very difficult to because at the end of the day, we didn't realise we'd get this far.
Right.
Before I forget, again, the fact that we are now part of, you've got us on COAP online and things like that. We are incredibly grateful for it. At the end of the day, we thought one day an idea came up of doing a podcast and having a chat and seeing who can get on, and it's just exploded. Like
love it.
And like I say, we're grateful to people like yourself who have taken that faith in us as well. Some of the guests we've had on as well. It's amazing. So it's almost like it's progressing quicker than we actually can figure out where we might take it next. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, sometimes that's good. That's it means you're not shaping it to one particular area, doesn't it? So and you're open to any development. So that's a really healthy place to be as well.
Yeah, because we've got there's quite a few of us, and we've all got, whilst we all share the same passion, we all may have different ideas. Now, that's not to say we'll ever, have a go at anyone for having a different idea. It's nice that we share them. And it's always good to get different ideas because, you know, at the end of the day, something that I might think of, someone else might not. Someone that someone thinks of, I might not. So in terms of where we see this going from here, in a way, at the moment, we're just seeing how things go and hoping that, you know, just enjoying the ride.
The journey. Yeah, man. Yeah. Nice. That's really cool.
Ben, Mike, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think obviously I'd agree, definitely. I think especially what you said about it being a whirlwind ride, sure, straight to the top, so to speak. You know, we were able to get these really cool guests on after we're only on what was this episode 11, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, we've had, I think, 10 of them have had guests that aren't in the group.
Yeah,
it's really good. And
yeah,
you know, even the Instagram account has only been going
just over a year.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we've probably got COAP to blame for that. Because Martin and I actually met at the Waddington shoot.
Did you? Or the whatever it was.
APCV?
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
That is where this group was born.
That's amazing. Oh, that's
so it's all thanks to you, Rick.
That's mad. Precious pixels, those shots now, aren't they? Crikey, the Sentinel.
Yeah, I got to their last fight, which was lucky as well, which is good.
Oh man, yeah. Well, that's amazing to hear. I love that. I didn't. Yeah, I thought you knew each other already from before. Actually, I hadn't realised that was the first.
No,
I
think a few of us have been.
That's really cool.
We'd spoken before, haven't we, Martin? But not. And then we obviously met there, and then it just kind of snowballed.
Wow.
Mental.
Ben, how about yourself? Have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's touching on what Martin said about having like an aviation barbecue style pod. I think, obviously, COVID, you know, restrictions and all that. I think I could see ourselves soon doing not a live, but a face-to-face meet with a guest, you know, maybe at an airbase, maybe in a pub garden, something like that, or someone's garden, and just have that interaction of being face-to-face rather than doing it over a screen. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with doing it over a screen. I mean, we've spoke to guests in America, you know, we would never be able to do pre or post-COVID. But anyone that's in the UK that, you know, or comes over, or we can go over or something like that to interview, I think that'd be one of the big next steps that we would take.
You had me at Pub Garden, actually.
I'm sure it can be organised, just obviously less of the less of those.
Rich, have you got any more questions at all, mate?
No, I think that's I was really interested to hear about that. I love seeing your journey so far, and I'm blown away that I was part of the kind of genesis of that in some small way. That's wicked. It's really meant something to me. Actually, it's really cool. That's what I love. I just love bringing people together and inspiring new things. And you know, so I love the way that the whole AvGeeks Assemble has grown, and super excited to see where it goes next. And I think that's a really healthy place to be. It's like, we're just loving it, we're just doing what we're doing and open to anything. I mean, that's powerful stuff, lads.
That's it, yeah. Because like we say, it's the passion of what it is that brought us together at the end of the day, you know. Because like I say, for me personally, I was brought into it because me and Martin used to chat. You know, every night we'd share shots, we'd tag each other in pictures. One day he just sort of said, you know, there's a few lads in a group chat. Do you want to get involved? Yeah, sound. This was before the main pages had even been made. And here we are, you know, 13, 14 months later, if not a bit longer, and we've just hit 50,000 followers. It's outrageous, honestly. We did not see that coming. When we hit 1,000 followers, we were buzzing. We could not believe we'd hit 1,000 followers. Wow. Now, obviously, thanks to the big man behind the scenes, Alex, we've hit 50K. It's
Epic.
It's ridiculous. You know, where are we going to be next year? No idea.
So what's the timescale for that growth then? When did that start?
Oh, I'm not sure we could pinpoint it.
Right.
No.
Because like I say, we got the first few hundred, and we got 1,000, and it just started going from there. It's just all of a sudden, it's just, I don't know. I genuinely couldn't tell you, but it's the growth has been phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, it has come with its, as we've been saying, it's come with its critiques. It's come with its accusations of you've been buying followers, which there's not really any way to respond to that other than
it's just annoying, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's phenomenal, and I'm sure I speak for everyone else when I say I couldn't be prouder of each and every one of the people in our group. And obviously with the things we're doing, and obviously with thanks to the likes of yourself, the sky is the limit. Again, pardon the pun, they're quite easy with what we do.
They are, aren't they?
They are, yeah. You do it without realising, but it's amazing, and like I say, we'll just see where it goes, really.
Yeah, love it. Well done.
Thank you. Well, I mean, that just about gets us back to base after another flight. Rich, we hope you enjoyed it and there wasn't too much turbulence.
No, not at all. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. Thank you.
Nice. And thank you for coming on as well. We do appreciate your time. Obviously, you're a busy man, so we do appreciate it.
There's a lot going on, but it's all good.
That's it. Well, I mean, before we go, we'll go around the group so you can find us all on social media. So again, we'll go by my screen. Martin, do you want to tell us what social media sites you're on and what your tags are?
Sure. So it's Facebook and Instagram, and it's Delta_wings_images. But before we move on, I just want to say, if you have got me on Instagram, can you go and check out the link in my bio? I am doing a 3 peaks challenge in September with my place of work, Biggin Hill Airport, and we are raising money for charity. My chosen charity is Mind, so any and all support is much appreciated. So thank you very much.
Yeah, go and check that out. Please go and check that out. Even if you don't donate, spread the word, share it, whatever you can. It's for a good cause.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Martin, and good luck. Obviously, we'll be following you the whole way on that.
Not literally, because I've done enough climbing over the last couple of weeks. I'm not doing any more.
Mike, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Mike Keatley Photography, and just so I don't have to spell it again, I'll put it on the screen when I edit the video.
Ben, yourself?
Nice and easy, just Ben_aviation_photography.
And that's just Instagram?
Yeah, it's just Instagram, yeah.
Ideal. Myself, Afterburner Aviation, that's both Instagram and Facebook. And then the man of the hour himself, Rich, do you want to tell us about your online tags?
Yeah, so at Rich Cooper UK for Instagram, and I've got obviously then COAPonline.com, which is my registered charity. No, it's not. Donate to that, that's fine. No, so it's all the W's, then COAP, COAPonline.com is where the membership's living. And then Centre of Aviation Photography on Facebook, Centre of Aviation Photography on Instagram. But I also just love connecting with people personally. So you just find my own personal profile on Facebook, Rich Cooper. Very welcome.
Awesome. Nice one. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
Cool.
Once again, thank you all for joining us for episode 11. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, which we definitely did. Please drop us a DM on Instagram or join the Facebook group if you want to give us any feedback. Again, any and all feedback is welcomed. We do take it on board and we do listen. In episode 12, we'll have another special guest, a fast jet pilot who recently became a member of the Order of the British Empire. If you can figure out who we mean and would like to get your question answered by him, please send us a DM on Instagram at AvGeeks_assemble, or we'll start a topic on our Facebook group, which is again AvGeeksAssemble, for you to post your questions there. So thank you again to this week's guest, Rich. We look forward to seeing you and your adventures with COAP. So everyone else, stay safe out there, and we will see you at the fence.
Later.
Bye.